It happens to all of us. Those sudden moments that we realize we forgot to bring our phones. In those moments, we panic and we quickly try to find them as if our life depends on them. Moments such as those prove how dependent we have become to technology and electronic devices. We rely on electronic devices with all aspects of our lives, but has it occurred to you that these smart devices could be spying on us 24/7? Believe it or not, they are monitoring us constantly and they know all our secrets. We have become dependent more than ever on electronic devices, and unfortunately, COVID era has contributed to it even more. We are using our smartphones, our personal computers for literally everything these days, starting from attending school classes or work meetings to hanging out and mingling with our friends online, using applications such as Clubhouse or Skype, or even shopping online. And our lives are tied up with so many smart devices, such as fitness trackers, autonomous vehicles, smart appliances, or even smart tattoos. A collection of these smart devices forms the Internet of Things, or in short, IoT. IoT brings new opportunities, and in IoT, every device is connected to the internet, and they can potentially be connected to each other. IoT opens the door to smarter homes and smarter cities, and it enables us to having such more capabilities that each of these individual devices cannot provide us by their own. However, IoT increases the attack surfaces due to the increased connectivity and their huge complexity. And because of that complexity, the risk of cyber attacks has increased more than ever. By end of 2021, there are more than 47 billion IoT devices around the world. And you can relate to it by looking at your own devices. You can see that we can easily have 7 or 8 devices, and this is not an exaggeration, that huge number. So these devices are collecting, monitoring, analyzing, and communicating our most intimate data, such as health-related data or financial data, to be able to provide real-time aid on a daily basis. But have you ever thought that this information collected by these devices can be misused or even sent to bad guys? It's not an urban myth. And the reality is that every time that you choose to add a smart device in your daily life, you are losing more and more privacy. Let me talk about something that happened for myself, and I think that several of you have come across the similar scenarios. A few months ago, I was talking to my friends regarding purchasing a new laptop. We were talking about different brands such as Apple, HP, Lenovo. It was a small talk that can happen every day. But later that day, I actually got some relevant recommendations and advertisement on my Facebook and Amazon accounts, and believe it kind of made me to think that maybe these infrastructures they can see what we say and they can use it for personalized advertisements. There are several of these scenarios reported actually around the world. The first example is about a fitness tracker called Strava. In this fitness, in 2018, they decided to release the heat map of the running traces of their most active users. It was a commercial act, but somehow it disclosed some of our nation's secrets. So it happened that using these heat maps, we can find some of the location of some of our military bases. So the soldiers involved, they had higher exercise requirements, so they made them most active users of this fitness tracker. And later on, Google Maps satellites could be used to go and see what are the roads and buildings that these soldiers use more frequently. Another example is about a security camera that has been designed and manufactured in China. There was a security bug in these security cameras that it actually direct the video of direct the stream of the videos collected by these security cameras, and it just sent them to somebody else randomly. And in this figure, you can see that the video of a baby has been directed to somebody else's iPad randomly. Another very similar and very recent example was about security camera called Verkada. This startup, the security cameras that they have developed, they had some kind of security bugs that attacker could use the underlying vulnerability and they could access to the video of customers. In this figure, you can see that they actually access to the video of Tesla in one of the warehouses in Shanghai. The main motivation behind most of these attacks is either to steal or expose data, to create target financial assets, or to be able to access to user accounts. Every day, there are 3 million attacks happening around the world. Most of these cyber attacks, they are targeting the vulnerabilities at the software level. For example, a bug in your Facebook application or in the Windows operating system could enable attackers to overthrow your device or your account to be able to take over it. However, these software vulnerabilities can be patched using some updates. Probably you have seen a set of security update notification when you wanted to turn off your laptop. And whenever you install those updates, your system will be immune toward these relevant attacks. However, you may not know that all of the IoT devices are built on top of a set of hardware like integrated circuits, including processors and memory chips. These hardwares are acting as a brain of these integrated circuits. And they are storing a set of our digital information such as passcode, text, photos, and our user credentials, and they are acting as a root of trust. The question is that, what if the vulnerability actually exists in the hardware? So previously, hardware components and digital chips were believed that they are static, secure, and trustworthy. And we were focused more on software attacks. However, research has shown that these hardware components are not invincible to security flaws and design bugs, and they can be used to launch more and more attacks. Research has shown that if the security vulnerabilities at the hardware levels are blocked, the whole system vulnerability will be reduced by 43%. Which means that a big portion of cyber attacks will be blocked if we are addressing security vulnerabilities at the hardware. However, security vulnerabilities at hardware are more critical than software vulnerabilities. The reason is that they are fixed, and when we are building them, we cannot change them. In that case, so we do not have the option of installing updates and patching those vulnerabilities. An attack that targets a vulnerability at hardware level can be successfully repeated on every instance of that chip that is being used or deployed in different IoT devices, and we cannot do anything because there is no updates to be patched to prevent these attacks. So let us talk about how these vulnerabilities are going to be introduced in hardware designs. A company in the United States will design a product, but not all aspects of the design happens in-house. As you can see here, the supply chain of integrated circuits are highly dispersed and globally distributed. So several countries and companies around the world are involved in designing a hardware. Therefore, this long and globally distributed supply chain make these hardware chips vulnerable to an array of security and integrity attacks. So for example, due to time to market and cost constraint, a company in the United States may decide to outsource fabrication and send its design offshore to some Asian countries such as China and Korea. But not everybody in these fabrication facilities, they are necessarily trusted. So they have access to whole design, so they can steal the design, they can claim it as their own, they can overproduce more than the numbers that are ordered, and they create some products over their own brands and sell them in black market. But worse than anything, they can insert malicious functionalities in the design. And this is a real concern. Last month, we heard the news that the shortage of computer chips reached to the crisis level. Shortage of chips means that we need to rely on the chips that they are fabricated and designed in some other countries. So it means that not only we do not have any control over fabrication process, we do not have any control on the design process, and we do not know what kind of malicious functionality may exist in these chips, and it may create some security and integrity and confidentiality issues for us. Further, it's extremely difficult to distinguish between an authentic and counterfeit chip. It's been one of the most challenging problems that we wanted to address to be able to guarantee that we are using an authentic chip. The market of counterfeits is sizable and growing, such as in 2019, that market size was 75 billion devices, and traces of these counterfeit components was confirmed in 169 billion devices, such as airport landing lights or network routers. So the consequence and risk of using these counterfeits range from generating inconvenience to injury or loss of life. There are a lot of recycled IPs also that can be used and deployed in IoT devices. Using recycled IPs makes the IoT devices less and less reliable and more vulnerable toward security attacks. It has been always a kind of battle between providing better security and having the best performance. The performance always, there have been several efforts that we wanted to just make the best performance with minimum overhead on some requirements of the design, such as battery lifetime. However, addressing the security always comes with overheads. And the big issue is that how we can balance and find a sweet spot between these two important parameters. And not only that we can have the best performance, but at the same time we can have less overhead and security, and we make sure that because of performance we do not create security vulnerabilities in the systems. So what can we do? Here I present one of the possible solutions. For example, for counterfeits, we can use microscopes or X-ray machines to be able to identify whether a design is authentic or is a counterfeit. We can also use advanced artificial intelligence algorithm to be able to distinguish these devices. So in short, we need to develop a set of metrics to be able to evaluate hardware design to see that how vulnerable they are. We need to create a set of tools that those tools can be able to address this vulnerability automatically. At the same time, we need to create a set of awareness between the users of these potentially vulnerable IoT devices. I believe the government, academia, and industry, they need to work hand in hand to be able to create an ecosystem that delivers these secure hardware designs from the design to consumer market. This is the only way, and this is the only way that we can make sure that we have secure devices and we can use IoT and smart devices with ease of mind without being worried about being spied or breach of our security and privacy. In University of Florida, my team and I, we are trying to address these challenging questions. Here's the list of my PhD students that they are dedicated to find answers for these challenges and help us to have more and more secure smart devices. Thank you.